In the latest Dragon Ball Super movie, Dragon Ball Super Superhero displayed Piccolo in a light OG Dragon Ball fans haven't seen in a long time. Over the course of the years, Piccolo seemingly joined the rest of the side characters and gave you a nostalgia you couldn't ignore, but you also can't ignore until this movie came out, he was pretty much obsolete. Some noticeable moments for Piccolo in Dragon Ball Super were his fights against Frost and some Gohan tag teaming in the Tournament of Power. Prior to this, we haven't seen our green friend in the spotlight really in my opinion since his fight with Android 17. But all of that takes a dramatic turn with this new orange Piccolo transformation. It's been speculated at this point in the series he's well above Goku and Vegeta in their blue forms and could also solo the Tournament of Power had he been able to use their form prior. And for the most part, people are enjoying seeing him in this new light. But of course it begs the question of how did Piccolo get so powerful? A numerous amount of people question this and go as far as to say that this was yet another Toriyama ass pull to catch him up to the main protagonist, as we've seen from the likes of Android 17, Frieza, and even Boo for a short period of time. But I actually oppose this rhetoric. In fact, I feel as though it makes absolute sense as to how he obtained this power, since in my opinion he was Orange Piccolo all along. And here's why. If you analyze Dragon Ball and Piccolo as a whole, you come to a conclusion you quite simply can't ignore, which is that Piccolo always becomes increasingly more powerful when he returns to his Namekian roots, or in other words, stays true to his natural self. The first time we get introduced to Piccolo, he's fused with Kami and known as the Nameless Namekian. If you pay attention to the scene where he's told he must rid himself of the evil if he wants to become the guardian of Earth, you can see here that he indeed looks like Orange Piccolo when attempting to force the evil out of his heart, and I believe that is happening either because it took his full power to get that out, which meant he had to become Orange Piccolo in this moment to be strong enough to get it out, or that it's the result of him needing to search deep within, which brings out a transformation, kind of like Super Saiyan. That being it's more of a need, not a desire. It also seems to be pretty taxing or painful. Keep a mental note of this as it's a reoccurring theme when it comes to Piccolo's rise to power. As we continue on, after they split, it's noted that they lose their power significantly, being now two beings, Kami and Demon King Piccolo. Since Piccolo stepped away from his Namekian origin, he became weaker, taking on the sins and hardships of Earth, turning on his original peaceful Namekian nature. He went from Android Saga levels of power to Dragon Ball Kid Goku levels as a result. After losing at the hands of Goku, Demon King Piccolo preserved his life essence by forming an egg which birthed the Piccolo we know today. Note that this was a Namekian tactic as it's something only his species could do, and as a result of doing that, he became much more powerful. The Piccolo that fought Goku in the 23rd Tenkaichi Budokai is far above Demon King Piccolo, losing in a very close and intense fight with a much more powerful Goku after the time skip, with Goku only winning by the skin of his teeth. The next time we see Piccolo, he's Goku's aide in the battle against Raditz. Prior to this battle though, in the time skip from Dragon Ball to Dragon Ball Z, Piccolo was training to use a move again to gain the upper hand if they ever met in combat again. This move was known as a Special Beam Candy, or the Makanko Sapo, which gave Piccolo a power level above Raditz and secured our heroes the win. Had he ever been able to get this move off on Goku, he would have beat him easily in a certain sense. He was technically stronger than Goku here as well. And I believe the reason for this is during the time skip he trained with the goal in mind, not one of destruction or genocide, but for self-improvement. It's never stated, but it's heavily implied Piccolo remained pretty isolated from others during this time. Meaning he wasn't killing anyone or being destructive, he was minding his own business in a sense of being tranquil, in other words, staying true to his Namekian nature of peace. You follow me? Now, fast forward to the Frieza saga. After learning of his origin, Piccolo seemed pretty intrigued about the Namekians and his people. I'm sure he felt a certain nostalgia flying through the skies of Namek. Not too long after this, he fuses with Nail using an ancient Namekian ability, one which merges the power of two Namekians into a single being. By Piccolo doing this, his power surpassed even that of our main protagonist at the time, and even Frieza to an extent, albeit at his second form. This was an incredible and definitely noteworthy moment for Piccolo. And how did he achieve this? Once again, by sticking to his Namekian origins. Kaioken times 10 Goku, the Ginyu Force, and the first form Frieza would have all perished by the likes of this Piccolo, who prior to this probably wasn't even too much stronger than Vegeta when he first arrived, assuming he took all the training that he could from King Kai and did very well with it. What an absolute beast. The next time we see Piccolo, he gets a greater increase of power, arguably his best one yet, when he reunites with Kami, pretty much getting as close to his origin as he can, brings him to the power of Android 17, who at this point in the series, besides Android 16, was the strongest character, surpassing Vegeta and Goku yet again and birthing one of the most slept on fights in all of Dragon Ball, that being Piccolo vs 17. Soon after this, Piccolo trains in the Hyperbolic Time Chamber and might have even surpassed Trunks and Vegeta after they achieved Grade 2, but that's a discussion for another story. From here on, Piccolo slowly but surely becomes like one of the other side characters and gets removed from the spotlight in his former glory, still having notable moments and being quite a many Dragon Ball movies, but not being that guy, if you will, for a long time. until he makes what I believe to be his final task in becoming the ultimate nameless Namekian once again, which is asking Shenron to become stronger and get him past his long-lasting plateau, and once again regain his nameless abilities and strengths. Which also makes sense and stays true to the theory, since only a part of Piccolo made the Dragon Balls, and that part being Kami, there was still a part of him that was yet unexplored, still yet incorporated into himself. By asking Shenron to give him strength, being his creator, he was in a sense looking inward once again and got his biggest increase in strength to date. But maybe I'm wrong. If so, I'd be curious as your thoughts regarding Orange Piccolo and his path to power. For everyone who had made it to the end of the video and walked with me on this journey, I thank you. You're an irreplaceable fan that I'd like to be a part of the main Majin Bird family, and I implore you to join the Dragon Ball HQ Discord server in the description. Here I'd like to garner a core fan base of Dragon Ball fans where we can celebrate and discuss the miracle that is Dragon Ball. Thank you.